Did you see on Fox News that Donald Trump was saying that he doesn't think he's going to get into heaven? So that's why he's trying to end the war in Ukraine. Now, obviously, I'm not a Christian, but I have read the Bible. And everybody who's read the Bible or is supposedly a Christian should know that it's impossible for any rich person to make it into heaven. Jesus was all about, like, give away all your worldly belongings because the end is near. You know, he was the leader of a death cult. So his whole story is give away all of your stuff to the poor and follow me. And he literally says in the Bible that it is easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to make it into heaven. So it really blows me away when there's like old rich people who are Christians who are like, what can I do to get into heaven? Well, Jesus was pretty explicit. Give away all your worldly belongings and follow Christ. But there's no way any rich person would ever do that. So, like, if the Christians are right, there's no rich people in heaven, and Donald Trump sure as hell isn't getting in.
Okay, you guys, I have so much good news to share with you. I'm going to pack it all into this video. Let's just say democracy the last few days has been working for Americans. And let's just say that MAGA is losing. They're losing, and they are freaking pissed off. Okay, number one, in Utah, unrelated to the redistricting fights going on in Texas and California, a judge ordered the Republican-led legislature to redraw the maps, to redraw them. And this is likely to benefit Democrats. We may gain as many as 3 seats. What this stems from is that in 2018, the voters voted for an independent commission to be the ones to draw up these maps. And in addition, they couldn't take politics into account, which is how it should be. They should be drawn up fairly. But the Republican-led majority ignored this commission's maps time and time again. So it was taken to the courts, and Judge Gibson, who's a Republican appointee, said, you better get your shit together. You've got 30 days to redraw them, or I will redraw them. So now Republicans are demanding that she be removed from the bench. They're calling her an activist judge, even though they were the ones, of course, cheating and going against the will of the voters, the scummy slime bag Republican Party. But they are so pissed off. That's good news, number one. And then you know our sandwich guy, what's his name? Sean Dunn, who threw a sandwich at a federal agent. A grand jury, which is, you know, local citizens, gave the big F you to the Trump administration, their prosecutor, in terms of indicting him with a felony. Do you know that less than 1% of grand juries reject a prosecutor's request to indict? And this grand jury said, this is a minor infraction. You're not going to sit around and throw people in jail and charge them with a felony for throwing a sandwich at a federal agent. Did you know that Sean Dunn was a former Justice Department employee? I did not know that. But I'm not done. There was another grand jury that refused to indict a woman that the Trump administration, the DOJ, wanted indicted, thrown in jail, charged with felonies for physically trying to intervene from an FBI agent, wrongly arresting 2 citizens to take them into custody. This is the citizens fighting back against this administration, and they said the same thing. This does not rise to the level of a felony or throwing her in jail. This is a abuse and misuse of everyone's resources. Did I say less than 1% of grand juries ever say no to indicting somebody? MAGA is losing. Did you know there were a crap ton of grand juries in California? Every single one of them rejected the Department of Justice's request to arrest protesters. Every single one. The DOJ wanted them charged with felonies and arrested. You know, that whole intimidation thing? And time again, every single grand juror overwhelmingly said, no, we're not indicting. Lots of losing. And then finally, fresh off the presses, the California Supreme Court ruled that Governor Newsom, California, can move forward on taking the whole redistricting to a vote this November. Yeah, MAGA lost. He gets to move forward and ask Californians if they would like to redraw the districts in order to deal with Texas trying to steal the election in Texas. Republicans trying to steal the election in Texas. So that's a lot of losing, pathetic losing, like wasted money. Your tax dollars and my tax dollars are funding all these cases, prosecuting regular Americans, taking down our democracy. Lots of losing. Sorry, Trump. Sorry, MAGA. Sorry, Project 2025. Not.
So as you guys know, I have been trying to prepare you for the special elections in 2026 specifically because there are a lot of seats up for re-election. However, there are special elections that are still going on in 2025, and I want to send your attention there. First and foremost, Iowa girl. You did your big one. You did your ones and your twos. You just had a special election for the Iowa Senate. That is the state Senate. And y'all just got done from breaking that supermajority. The Republicans was out here with 2/3 of Congress. I know they was wreaking havoc out there. I know they was wreaking havoc out there. But you Iowa Democrats, y'all flipped that seat. Y'all flipped that seat. And now in the House Senate, there are 17 Democrat seats. There are 33 Republican seats. For those that do not understand how Congress works, right? So state Congress is mirrored after federal Congress, okay? And there are two different votes that you'd have to do. One is to send someone to the U.S. House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate, which make up the Congress at the federal level, or you're going to be voting for state senators, for senators of the state Congress, which is going to be both either the House of Representatives at the state level or the Senate at the state level. So Iowa just voted in another Democrat for their state level Senate. This is why it's very important. Local elections will impact your life a whole lot quicker than federal elections, okay? So you need to vote in both. You need to vote in both. One is not more important than the other. Both of them are equally as important. But if you were just like, Tori, which one will make the biggest impact the quickest? Local, state, that governor, that mayor, that state legislature, that state deputy of whatever. Yeah, they're going to touch you first. They're going to change things immediately in your neighborhood, in your locality, in your city, in your township, in your county. That's what they impact, okay? And sometimes when it comes down to the federal government, a lot of people that study politics knows that you feel the impacts of the prior administration after they're out of office or towards the end of their term. That's when you really start feeling things, okay? So it's more delayed at the federal level. There are a lot of special elections that are coming up. What I want you to do is I want you to look and see what special elections are happening in your area, which brings me to the DMV. Fairfax, Virginia, Northern Virginia, all of Virginia, tune your ear. There is a federal election for a House of Representatives seat at the federal level. Are you hearing me? It is September the 9th. It is September the 9th. Call off work, honey. Be late. Go in with breakfast. I need you at the polls. I need you at the polls, ladies and gentlemen. Don't play. Now is not the time, okay? I don't care what's happening on that day. I need you to find your way September the 9th to the booth. I need you to get in the booth. And I need you to vote what? Blue. Act like you know. I need you to vote blue. Why? Because we're trying to get this under order, okay? We're trying to get this together. And so when it comes down to the balance of powers, you have to understand that there are some things that could help us be shielded from the atrocity of this administration by going ahead and voting in the right people inside of that Congress. Okay? So that's what you need to focus on. A lot of these Congress members will begin to do a lot of things to cause you to forget the craziness that you've been through for the past, 8 months? Going on 9? I need you to pay attention. I don't need you to lose focus. I need you specifically to figure out who has special elections next year in your state at the federal level and at the local level. And I need you to watch them like a hawk. I mean, when it comes down to voting, I need you to pull what they voted for and what they voted against. I need you to remind yourself of what they're doing. Now, the interesting part is that in all of these special elections, majority of the special elections since the presidential election last November have been won by Democrats. I can tell people getting sick of it. I love to see it. What I need you to do is not lose steam or lose focus. I don't care what happens in pop culture. I don't care what happens around the world. I don't care about none of that. I need you to stay on task, okay? Stay on task. And right now, our task is to focus on the special elections. I don't care what's going on in Washington, D.C. I don't care what this man tried to do, who he tried to send, what's going on with nothing. Do you hear me? An atomic bomb could go off on the other side of the world. I want you to look at it and recenter your focus back to these special elections, because that's what we're going to be focused on. All right? So once again, for Virginia, the governor called a special election. That election's taking place on 9/9/2025, honey. That's in a couple weeks. 2 weeks to be specific, if I'm not mistaken. I need you to go to the booth and vote blue. Act like you know.
I want you to look at this man. You know, how he's talking, what he's talking, what is the context or the content of what he's trying to talk. And you'll find out whatever he's talking, it doesn't make sense. Even if you ask this man to actually, try to tell you who are these presidents, who calls him the European presidents, I think he will fail. To do what? To even name a single president. I think he'll start where, I think Putin, I think Netanyahu, and of course he'll remember Zelensky. But whatever he's talking, look at how he's. Just judge for yourself.
They respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's in Louisiana. This is Speaker Johnson, 4x higher. I'm just offering, again, you've not seen this on Fox News, so the President may not be familiar with these facts. So I want to present some facts to the President of the United States, and imagine this is alarming to the President to learn these facts. Mississippi leads the nation as the #1 murder state in America. Imagine this in particular may resonate with the President of the United States. It's got a murder rate, it's 180%. 180% higher than Los Angeles. It's interesting. LA has more people. These are all per capita numbers. More people than Los Angeles. Perhaps the president could deploy the National Guard in every corner of Mississippi. And the fact remains, if the president is sincere about the issue of crime and violence, there's no question in my mind that he'll likely be sending the troops into Louisiana and Mississippi to address the unconscionable wave of violence that continues to plague those states.
It is never about law and order. It is always about white supremacy. And speaking of white supremacy, Stephen Miller.
The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists.
Gangbangers. Gangbangers. This dude is the spokesperson for white supremacy. He is struggling to string sentences together. Stephen Miller appeared on Fox News to continue his duty of scaring the old white people who watch Sean Hannity by telling them how dangerous our cities are in the U.S.
Look at Chicago. They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement, and as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field.
Bloody killing fields. Wow. As usual, there is zero evidence to support anything that Stephen Miller is saying. In Chicago, homicides are down over 30% and violent crime overall is down over 20% when compared to this time last year. DC earlier this year hit a 30-year low with violent crime dropping 35% when compared to 2023. All this is the same old story. White politicians fear-mongering, claiming they need to be tough on crime, but just ending up being unrepentant perpetuators of systemic racism in the US. Whether it's the law and order of Nixon, Reagan's war on drugs, Clinton's mid-90s crime bill, or the illegal aliens of the Trump era, it is the perpetuation of white supremacy. Stephen Miller, Trump, and all of MAGA have to keep repeating these outlandish falsehoods over and over and over again to justify erecting actual concentration camps and sending federal troops into our cities. The people living in parts of Chicago, DC, and other major U.S. cities who are disproportionately experiencing violent crime tend to be neighborhoods of color, and they would love if the federal government would actually help them. Actual help looks like gun control, anti-violence intervention, investing in economic stability, education, healthcare, mental health treatment. Sending in the National Guard does nothing. But just like with immigration, MAGA does not want to address any of the core issues that are underlying violent crime. They want to keep offering solutions that they know will not work so they can keep scaring white people into voting for them. And the fact that so many of these MAGA voters will believe a white criminal before they will ever believe the black mayors of Chicago or DC tells you everything you need to know about the role white supremacy is playing here.
Look, Trump is not a perfect person. I did not vote for a perfect person. You did not vote when you voted for Joe Biden. I truly believe, though, that Trump has the best interests of Americans at heart.
Of Putin and all the other dictators. That's who he wants. He doesn't care about us. He cares about his dictator friends.
So apparently MAGA cannot believe their eyes because things are turning the way they didn't expect. Let's go back and look how Governor Newsom is single-handedly destroying Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. And it's causing these guys to actually go on Fox News, try to actually speak ill of who? Governor Newsom. And it's the same way that Donald Trump has been expressing the hatred against people who speak against him, or using the federal law, using the courts to actually set political score. Now Donald Trump is trying to use military now to settle the political score of the cities or states which they are the Democrats. You've seen what happened to the states in Iowa when Democrats are dethroned very badly. Who? The Senates or the Republicans or the MAGA candidate. It shows how the GOP is gonna face a tough time during the midterm elections next year. We can see how, the people have been trying to actually speak against this man. We know Donald Trump is old, and when people are old, they tend to act very badly, very irrational, without thinking. The same thing that happened during President Biden, where Donald Trump, felt that this man was so old, but actually he can't make decisions based on his mind. Look what is happening. It's happening the same to the sickly 78-year-old man, Donald Trump. Now he has removed security for Kamala Harris. It shows how it's now near the end. This is the same man who was afraid, he is not going to go to heaven because he's doing bad, because he participated in the Epstein saga, because he is the one who is bombing, he's using Israel to bomb children because he's supporting the same. He has not criticized who the president or the prime minister of Israel, but he actually, smiling, putting the red carpet. Look what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. Is the same guy who actually put the red carpet for the dictator, for the genocide, so it's true, Donald Trump is not gonna see heaven because what he's doing is against biblical, is against what God has intended. So tell me what you think about this video in the comment section. Please like, comment and subscribe.